Te Dakota te whānau o Aotearoa Unitarians. Te Dakota nā manaheri, no mai, hire mai, ki tene hui toba a te atua te Dakota, te tato katoa. I probably haven't missed more than 24 Sunday services since I was baptized at the age of 5. As a child, I didn't get to decide whether or not I went. As a teenager and university student, I did have a choice, but it was ingrained in me. I still couldn't stay away. For much of my life, my congregations expected me to show up. But even if they hadn't, I would still be joining you every Sunday in the far reaches of the Zoomiverse. William Laurence Sullivan explains why. To outgrow the past, but not extinguish it. To be progressive, but not raw. Free, but not mad. Critical, but not sterile. Expectant, but not deluded. To be scientific, but not to live on formulas that cut us off from life. To hear amidst clamor the pure, deep tones of the Spirit. To seek the wisdom that liberates and a loyalty that consecrates. To turn both prosperity and adversity into servants of character. To master circumstances by the power of principle, and to conquer death by the splendor of loving trust. This is to attain peace. This is to pass from drear servitude to divine adoption. This is to invest the lowest life with magnificence and to prepare it for coronation. My opening words are a short poem by Margaret Williams Braxton. Once upon a time, I was. Now, I am. Someday, I will become. Once there was, and now there is. Soon there will be. And someday there surely shall be. Once upon a time we were. Now we are. And someday, hallelujah, we shall surely become. My opening song is one we're familiar with, We Would Be One. Now time to light our chalice. If you have a candle or a chalice yourself, this would be the time. My words are by Jennifer Gracen. We come together every week, bound not by a creed or a mutual desire to please one God or many gods, yet we are drawn together by a belief that how we are in the world, who we are together, matters. We light this chalice together in the knowledge that love, not fear, can change this world. My reading for this morning is by Kat Liu. She worked for the UU, and she has interesting background. And right now she makes ceramic objects of various kinds in San Francisco. She begins with this quote by Stephen Curry: "Be your own worst critic and your own biggest fan." She goes on to say, "Once while in 6th grade, I brought home a quiz in which I'd gotten the highest score in the class, a 98%. When I proudly handed the paper to my mother, she asked, 'Where's the other 2%?' Mom believed that by training her children to aim for perfection, we would be more successful. Academically, her strategy worked. Unfortunately, it also resulted in neurotic offspring who tend to dwell on our failings. Over the years, I've learned that many people share these nagging feelings of constantly falling short." Excuse me. Most of us have also learned to censor our internalized critic in front of others. One day, however, after I'd got myself into a serious jam that I required a friend to help me out, my inner critic could no longer be contained. I let loose an unrelenting stream of self-reprobation, ignoring Shelley's repeated attempts to assure me things would be okay. Finally, she yelled, "Stop beating up my friend!" Taken aback, I stopped. Then the words sank in, and I laughed. Her uncharacteristic outbursts and choice of words allowed me to see what I otherwise could not. I saw myself not as myself, but as Shelley's friend. Someone loved by someone else, and realized that I was being harsher on myself than I ever would be on a friend. If a friend were in my situation, I would have genuinely seen their feelings as human and focused instead on how to make things better. So why hold someone to an unforgiving standard just because that someone is me? Sounds corny, but in that moment, I finally understood the popular adage that you have to love yourself so that even when friends aren't there to defend you, you can be your own advocate, friend, and fan. I will always have that voice telling me, you could have done better. That's okay. And maybe even beneficial, so long as it's not the only voice we hear. Occasionally, when the first voice gets to be too much, I say, "Stop beating up my friend." And it works. And now, for a musical interlude, we're going to play "I Ain't Afraid" by Holly Near. Kate Liu's reflection on beating up on herself brought back a happier memory. It was a game my mother played with me when I was a little older than a toddler. She would take my arms and force me to hit myself. Not so it hurt, but until I gleefully giggled when being scolded to stop hitting her baby. She meant no harm. How could she know I would get pretty good at the game? only when I played it, it hurt. Like Kate, I remember bringing home an anatomy test with the highest grade in the class, just like her, 98%. But when I showed my parents the test, they couldn't stop laughing. That, my one mistake, was switching uvula with anus. It was funny. Why wouldn't they laugh? Again, they meant no harm, but I was 12. I was very good at feeling shame, not knowing that was different from being embarrassed or being able to laugh at myself. I was black and blue emotionally from beating up my mother's baby. Character is one of those words we like to throw around like everybody knows what the hell it means. Sadly, we pretend to play along, nodding, understanding when we hear it, when we don't really have a clue. Do we consider that historically only men had character? Does it occur to us that we don't really understand what it means any more than we can define the word honor? Another of those patriarchal words. The etymology of character is quite telling. The word comes from the Greek word for engraved mark, or symbol or imprint on the soul. It has gone through many other connotations over the millennia, but this is my favorite. It suggests who we are, or at least who we are becoming or became. The good part of this understanding is that it doesn't suggest our character is determined by how well we beat ourselves up. It does suggest that forming our character leaves marks engraved by life itself. I'm not all that much into antique furniture, but I'm told that stress marks from daily use make it more valuable than when first constructed. Our stress marks are badges to be proud of, not scarlet letters. To help out, here are some other words that help me understand character. Authentic, integrity, passionate, brave, humble, carried, self-sacrificing. And there is another, accepting. Accepting who we are, accepting our circumstances, accepting where we are, accepting our purpose, accepting our value. Until we do, we will fail to become fully who we are. Not accepting is just another way to beat ourselves up. We will fail to appreciate who we are. We will fail to believe in and follow our passion. We will not quit blaming ourselves for what life throws at us. We will seek to change what we can't accept. Sometimes it's easier for us rationalists to understand philosophical fine points with a story rather than an argument. The following is from a reflection by Marisol Caballero. She begins with a quote by one of my favorite journalists, Molly Ivins, excuse me, who regularly took the piss out of her home state of Texas. I dearly love the state of Texas, but I consider that a harmless perversion on my part and discuss it only with consenting adults. Then Maria goes on to say, Marisol, I spent 4 years of my life living in New York City, and a little over 2 living in California. And I am proud to say that I have lived every other year of my life in Texas. Texans are known for their arrogance about our home state, and this reputation isn't untrue. In fact, Texas oil man John Gunther is credited as saying, if a man's from Texas, he'll tell you. If not, why embarrass him by asking? As much as there is to love about the beauty of my ancestral land, its people, and its cultures, those unlucky souls not from here, especially those who live on the other 2 coasts, are baffled by such adoration. I've lost track of the number of times I was congratulated for getting out during my years away, as if instead of being my home, Texas was a hostage situation. Oh, I understand all too well where they were coming from. Texas is known for its hostility to people of color, LGBT people, and women. I'm a member of each of these groups. What kind of masochist would willingly and enthusiastically go back? Well, to some, home may be where one hangs their hat. I believe that for most of us, home is where we feel most connected to what nourishes our soul. There's so much about Texas that I despise and would love to change. But the same could be said of other places and spaces that feel like home, such as my alma mater, my faith communities, the cultural groups I'm a member of, my family of origin, etc. You get the gist. But we humans have both a natural desire and a spiritual need to feel connected and to grow roots, even if those roots aren't necessarily tied to a geographical place. We need to feel part of the tribe. It's no coincidence that family and familiar have the same root. With any home or community, there comes a time when its flaws can no longer be ignored. In fact, this disillusion is part of growing up. Some will cut and run, seeking greener pastures, but soon enough the vibrant colors of newness fade and the complex realities of the new home emerge alongside its original novelty and beauty. The trick to remaining in love and connected with home becomes the same trick as remaining in love with any person, including and maybe especially ourselves. We find ways to actively engage with what makes us proud, remain open to surprises, and work toward fixing that which disappoints us. As one of those who sought greener pastures after disillusion with my birth country, I found my tribe in an unexpected place. It was not about escaping for me, but finding. It was not about finding perfection. There are plenty of warts here. It was about coming home. After arriving, I felt sometimes like a verse from the theme song of Cheers. Be glad there's one place in the world where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to go where people know people are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name. Yet it wasn't easy to get here. I had to leave a lot behind, including certainty that I could stay or would want to after getting here. Our character development requires a lot of leaving things behind. Jen Crow, a UU minister, is the founder of Wellspring, a Unitarian Universalist program of spiritual deepening, and it's used widely in the U.S. She writes of the best advice she ever got. In whatever situation you find yourself, take what you need and leave the rest behind. Don't waste your energy arguing. Just take what you need and leave the rest behind. Over the years, I've found this advice works not only for family gatherings and 12-step meetings, but for the larger projects of spiritual living too. And the best news of all is this: taking what we need and leaving the rest behind isn't only a one-time thing. We can do it anytime. Looking back over our lives, we can hear the stories anew, choosing where to focus our attention and where to widen our views. We can let go of old ways of understanding that no longer serve us. And we can wiggle our way free, becoming the meaning makers and the storytellers of our own lives. We get to choose what we need in a given moment. And what we need gets to change. What we definitely need to leave behind is beating ourselves up. For some of us, it takes a double dose of character to do it. But it changes everything. What do we do? Our story of origin, of who we are, who we seek to become, all improve in the telling. We are all the same, and we all know your name. So stop beating up our friend. It is not a game. It hurts you. It hurts us. So be it. It may all seem impossible, but perhaps you'll feel it's more so after you listen to our closing song. I confess it's one of my favorite musicals. I've seen it maybe 4 or 5 times and wore out back in the days of vinyl, my first album of it. So, thank you for that little trip down memory lane. My closing words are by Erik Wikstrom. If you are who you were, and if the person next to you is who he or she was, if none of us has changed since the day we came in here, we have failed. The purpose of this community, of any church, temple, zendo, mosque, is to help people grow. We do this through encounters with the unknown, in ourselves, in one another, in the other, whoever that might be for us. However hard that might be, because these encounters have many gifts to offer. So may you go forth from here this morning, not who you were, but who you could be. So may we all. And now it's time to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. it's time for your going into a chat, a small group. And if you haven't been with us before, be brave. You just go in a small group for 4 or 5, and I give you a question to discuss. You won't get graded. You just get to know each other and share your thoughts and ideas. But if that's intimidating, please prepare your departure now so I know how many breakout groups to have. While they're doing that, the question is, take a chance and share one way you used to beat yourself up and how did you stop? Share one way you used to beat yourself up and how did you stop?